My name is Angel Lateral, and when it comes to practicing law, I resonate with the human spirit just as much as the judicial system. This isn't your typical business legal advice show, and I'm not your typical lawyer. As an attorney, I have over 16 years of legal experience in the areas of business law and estate planning. As a project manager, I love building and nurturing systems that work. And as a certified guide in the lineage of King Solomon, transformation consultant, and practicing Buddhist, I know this all starts with a healthy mindset. Welcome to the Laws of Abundance podcast. Legal advice from an angel. I'm your host, Angel Lateral. Welcome to Season 2 of Laws of Abundance. I cannot wait to kick off this second season with you. This season, in part, is Season 2 because this is the year of twos, 2022. Seems appropriate to keep the angelic numerology going. So with Season 2 in 2022, we have 4 twos. 2, 2, 2, 2. An angelic number of balance, construction, and harmony. It speaks of new experience awaiting through bravery and positive thinking, resulting in you building your dreams. In short, be confident in your own abilities. Trust your instincts. Take a leap out of your comfort zone and build the future you truly desire, using the laws of the universe and the laws of abundance. So this Season 2, I'm going to do just that by showing you the Hermetic Principles. The laws of the universe that we can use to build our desires into reality as they are at work in my own life. Season 1 was a seed, my practice round, where I shared at random as things came up for me. I hope Season 2 will be more structured, yet more vulnerable, so you can see how Hermetics are organic laws at work in a life, and how when used and observed intentionally, you can use them to bring abundance, light, and joy. So let us begin. Episode 1 of Season 2, Hermetics Me. A rosebud opens into a rose, an acorn grows into an oak, and a caterpillar emerges as a butterfly from its cocoon. Is it not possible that we too unfold according to an inner plan? Howard Sasportas, author of The 12 Houses and a psychological astrologer. So this week, on Monday, using my ritual planning journal, and my new set of oracle cards given to me by my partner for my birthday, I pulled the Fool, the Rune Perthu, and the Emerald Tablet activation card from my new Light Activation Oracle deck. Clearly, the universe was sending me a message to radically trust, let go, to be an open container of the divine plan, according to the rules of Hermetics, to allow for manifestation around me with my effort only being the holding of that desire, not the manipulation of the elements. I'm writing this right now on an airplane flying to Kauai, Hawaii, sitting in first class, enjoying the first blanket and pillow I've seen on an airplane since January of 2020, and so much legroom. Now I'm rambling and you're likely wondering, what does this have to do with anything, Angel? What is the Emerald Tablet? What are Hermetics? And good for you for going to Hawaii flying first class in January. So this year, and my second season of Laws of Abundance, I'm going to dedicate to studying the Hermetic Principles as they appear in my life, using real examples as I have learned or leaned into them or struggled against them to no avail, because Law of Abundance number 1 is that the rules of Hermetics are inescapable laws. It doesn't matter if you know them, believe in them, they still apply to you. But if you live by them, if you actually use them, they are keys to creation of an abundant and joyful life. First, I'm going to say and admit that I am still an apprentice in this area, a Padawan. I am no Obi-Wan or Yoda when it comes to these laws. I am at best a young and whining Luke Skywalker. I am still studying the Force, so I will share my experience and not be arrogant enough to claim anything close to mastery. And unlike Star Wars, there really isn't power in the dark side here on this plane. The dark side is negative ego, fear, stuck, non-moving, crunchy garbage, living in a cage of a Matrix dream world where you go nowhere. We all start there, as a little battery pod in the Matrix, doing nothing but feeding this machine, not aware of our purpose. This is our default. We have to choose and work hard at unplugging every single day. And this is not a one and done red pill like Neo in the Warner Brothers story. It's more like the daily blue pill Neil Patrick Harris prescribes him. We have to remind ourselves every single day through gratitude, ritual, prayer, and meditation to stay on the path to knowing our higher self and not ending up back asleep in our little comfortable matrix prison. So let me tell you a little story about my journey with the Hermetic Principles. Stardate 2016, just prior to the solar eclipse. I've tried to drink and eat my way out of a dark hole of codependency. I've joined the Mile High Club, adventuring with strangers I met in first class seats on airplanes, drank my way across Scotland, ate at the best and most expensive restaurants in the world, and after none of that works, I find myself with a set of runes in my hands at a Celtic fair in Mount Vernon, Washington, sitting in the sunshine with two lovely ladies talking about the Ritual Master Path. And so I start doing rune readings for people, and I start feeling magic in my life. I encounter some interesting phenomena and decide to step onto the path of a ritual master in the lineage of King Solomon. Why not try a path of self-discipline and self-discovery instead of one of hedonism? Hedonism was starting to hurt. It hurt my hip, my heart, my bank account, my stomach, and no fine scotch or fully loaded Bloody Mary was going to bring me to a place of betterness. Now, this path as an RM or a ritual master was where I was first introduced to the laws of Hermetics formally. The lineage of King Solomon is a Hermetic order. This was told to me years prior, but I didn't really know what it meant, nor honestly did I really care. Doing light work felt good, so I kept doing it, not because of any philosophical choice. Moreover, my Buddhist practice followed certain principles like cause and effect, and Kabbalah had helped me know myself and my self-worth a little better. But all I really knew about Hermetics was the phrase hermetically sealed, and that there was this guy named Hermes Trisma something or other, and he wrote a book called the Hermetica. So I understood through Buddhism the concept of oneness of self and environment. But as I started down the RM path, I began to learn that 1, all is mind. If we think it, so then it becomes so. 2, as above, so below. As within, so without. Everything has a structure, and as we see ourselves within, so it is reflected without in our environment. Much like oneness of self and environment in Buddhism, interestingly enough. 3, vibration. Everything is in motion and holds a frequency. If we engage, ingest, align with it, we can raise or lower our frequency. Higher vibration equals positive results and abundance. 4, polarity. Everything has a polarity or a pole and an opposite, but opposites are the same. They're just different degrees. 5, rhythm. Everything flows in and out, rises and falls. If you push something away, it will swing back like a pendulum and smack you harder. 6, cause and effect. Everything happens according to the laws of the universe. So every cause has an effect. There are many planes of causation, but nothing escapes this law. 7, gender. Everything in the universe is binary. There are masculine and feminine principles and energies everywhere. And this duality manifests on all planes of existence, and their balance and interaction is necessary for creation here in the physical world. And the more I study Hermetics, the more I'm sure that Nichiren Daishonin, the well-studied monk who started the sect of Buddhism I have ascribed to since I was 18 years old, I'm certain he also studied Hermetics, as the principles are all over his writings, just in different words than they appear in the Kybalion or in other Cliff Note versions of the Hermetica. So how did I start applying these esoteric principles to my life? And in some ways, this is the grand experiment. This is the great work of becoming a disciplined magician, creating your own life. The work of knowing oneself. It is tuning into these principles always in life. But honestly, I started with the ones I knew well and tried on those I didn't. And when I say try on, I meant in some cases ignore and then feel the consequences of that ignorance. I started looking at the world through the lens of these principles, and my negative ego actually stopped winning the daily battle. Not without a fight, however, but the daily practices, rituals, meditations that I engage in helped. And I also gradually started making better choices in the moment. I started living in the moment, letting go of fear and old crap. I started clearing old stuff out of my way and speaking and being my truth of the now instead of the shoulds of the others. So 2018 saw me surprise people in my corporate job as I started prioritizing me and speaking my mind. I started my side businesses for real, focusing on life-activating people and learning additional skills as a healer, going out to fairs to perform readings, and giving up alcohol and excessive eating of my feelings. 2019, I pushed myself further on the path through more Kabbalah and choosing to stand up and become a guide for others within the Modern Mystery School International. I chose to work on my physical wellness, to add beauty and self-care to my regimen. I started to stand up straight and live royally and not take others' assertions upon myself. This resulted in my corporate job pushing back at me, telling me I was getting too uppity. Although it was extremely uncomfortable at the time, looking back at this was a natural reaction by those still stuck in the matrix reacting to me. I was breaking through, but they weren't. Also, my contract with God and my purpose in this world does not have me beholden as a wage slave to another, but asks me to be my own master, working for myself. But I still needed a strong and obvious message to finally push me out of the corporate cocoon, however. And that was delivered in December of 2019 when my boss told me that I did not appear committed to my job, and I would not be receiving the promotion that had been promised to me over the past year that I had been working very hard to get. Her judgment had nothing to do with me or what I was actually doing at the job. But it was definitely the sign I needed to withdraw myself from the circle where I had no input, no ability to influence the outcome. Essentially to clearly identify that my corporate job was a waste of my time and talents. So I finally left, and I started my own business 2 months later, just as the pandemic started in March of 2020 and the world shut down. Now, I could have panicked, but instead I held gratitude, as the shutdown was the best possible thing that could have ever happened to me. It gave me the ability to ingather, recover, and focus my efforts on being an entrepreneur. And for the first time in years, I could just work on me and start to study the Hermetic Principles at work in my life and the world with perspective. And in that time, I birthed this podcast and a host of things you see under my law office and Light Center brand. I share this maybe somewhat not so exciting trajectory and gradual progression story to illustrate that the laws of abundance and Hermetic principles in one's life is not necessarily a quick, nor obvious, nor straightforward line, but being on the path and staying on the path is key. So this season, in the year 2022, I will be exploring as best I can with life experience the laws of abundance as expressed in the 7 Hermetic Principles. You will see my messy process from worm to chrysalis to butterfly, just like the quote I started this post with. As I finish writing this episode 1, I am home again from my trip to Kauai, Hawaii, where I learned even more about myself by hiking through the jungle, sitting on the beach, and meditating. I allowed myself to unwind. I learned that for me, I need to find play within my work for joy to continue and to pervade my service to others. Much like the saying, or possibly a Stephen King quote, "All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy." Well, for me, Angel, I have to ask myself, for what purpose do I work so hard? This is not service to self and others if I just work to work or work to avoid living my life and loving. I have to allow others to help me carry things forward, and sometimes to set everything down so that I can take time to dance, move my body, and allow the waves of passion to flow through just for the sake of enjoyment or moving, igniting the flames within so I can hear and listen as the hierarchy of light and my higher self guide me along my path. The 6 days in Hawaii was the first time that I pushed myself like that on a jungle hiking trail. The first time I stayed comfortably with a large group of strangers that I just did for the sake of doing and moved to treat my body in over 10 years. I let my mind go completely and stayed in the flow and relaxed and loved. I came home whole, awake, alive and clear, refreshed and completely unafraid. Whatever is coming in my life, I shall create with my heart, my imagination, and gradual, consistent effort forward. Less attached to doing and more focused on simply holding the vision, allowing the gifts of abundance the universe provides to support me. All right, my listeners, I'm excited for what is to reveal itself in 2022 as I move forward in this place of vulnerability in all aspects of my life, sharing how these laws of abundance are at work in my life so you may be inspired to do the same in yours. I also want to hear from you. If you've read the Kybalion, the Hermetica, or anything about Hermetics, do you have questions? Do you have stories to share? I'd love to move forward in conversation and address your questions, tell your stories, or even figure out how to have guests on this show so we can learn more together. This is the year of twos, after all. Thank you for allowing me to help you prosper. If you like this podcast, please review and subscribe. You can find out more about me at laterallaw.com/Laws of Abundance podcast. I'm your host, Angel Lateral, and I can help with that.